Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to a Tin Dog podcast, reviewing Smith 2.5, The Rebel Flesh, part 1 of a two-part story, being The Rebel Flesh and The Almost People. Except in my notebook I got them the wrong way around. I thought that this week was called The Almost People, but I was wrong. Before I review this show, I just need to say that my Twitter account has now been cancelled. You have a choice in life. You write in your spare time, or you get distracted by Twitter. I am one of life's easily distracted people, and therefore it had to go. Please don't take it personally. I find you all far too interesting, and it was distracting me from finishing off the project. So don't take it personally. I'm no longer on Twitter, and my Facebook account, well, that's deactivated. If you want to contact me, just use the email button on the website. It's on the top right-hand side, I think. Right, enough nonsense. Let's talk about this.
The flesh. It's fully programmable matter. It acts like life, but it still needs to be controlled by us.
They can't remain stable without us plumbed into them. Trust me.
The Rebel Flesh is very nice. I'm not got any major problems with it. My first reaction to watching it was kind of, but the next day it sunk in, and I thought about it, and I realised it had much more of a profound effect on me, and stayed in my memory much, much more than I thought it would, which is odd. Because on the face of it, yes, it's Avatar, sending people into hostile environments using some sort of biological copy system. It has a certain Moon vibe, dangerous environments, copied people, clones, and the possibility, and this is my vote for next week, where you find out that no one is real. I think the giveaway of that was when the woman turned her head round all the way, and you were thinking that she was the original, but she was capable of doing something that original shouldn't be able to. So my money is on that no one on the island is an original person. That's the Moon vibe I'm getting. Which brings me along to a Voyager episode, the one with the silver blood. I can't really remember the episode title, and I'm sure someone will email in, but I do know the one where everyone on board is acting slightly differently. And then they realise that no one on board, including the spaceship, is the original person. It's quite a nice story. Again, it also brings me back to my all-time favourite sitcom, which is Nightingales from the early 90s on Channel 4. For those of you who don't know, the very last episode has 3 security guards, and and one night they are sent a poisoned cake, and their replacements turn up, and their replacements are exact duplicates of themselves. It's incredibly good. If you can track it down, possibly using Channel 4 on demand, I strongly suggest you watch Nightingales. You won't be disappointed. And of course, for those classicists amongst us, another influence, Frankenstein. That's there. You've got the lightning, you've got it giving life. You've also got that missing hour. What happened in the missing hour? I'm sure we'll find out next week. Now, yes, you've got your basic doppelganger storyline, where people look like other people. It's been done in Doctor Who before, and remember, there is the argument that shows should be cancelled the minute that doppelganger stories come along. And let's ignore that for the time being. It's happened so many times in Doctor Who, it's not really worth going into, but you've got your androids of Tara, you've got the enemy of the world, if you want truly classic references. But of course there's copies of the Doctor appearing in many, many stories, and that's what made this a really nice story. The very end. Would a copy of the Doctor be able to regenerate? We just don't know. How much of a copy is he? Is he a perfect replica? And then a perfect replica, that brings up a whole can of worms for which Doctor dies. I don't think that replica will stand the test of time, will escape the second episode, but it's well worth thinking about. All this comes together under the nice blanket title of Base Under Siege. Yet another example of how the 11th Doctor's time is echoing the second. The second's Base Under Siege track record was huge, and this is the second Base Under Siege story in 3 weeks. Of course, one of the big references to Doctor Who, or throwbacks at least, was the tank, the vat that made things, looking far too much like Sontaran technology. Now, that could just be a coincidence, but the Rutans could genuinely make a whole army using this gunky stuff. They've covered themselves by saying this sort of thing has happened before at different plants, which would have led to the whole moon thing, where everyone is a copy of the original. This will be a fairly short review, mainly because it's a two-parter, and there's not that much to go on. Yes, Eye Patch Lady turned up. Yes, it was annoying. Yes, Amy hasn't got much to do. And yes, Rory's character is being fleshed out in leaps and bounds. His relationship with the not people, his relationship with that girl is lovely. Saying that Amy's lucky, and him going, yeah, she is, comes as a surprise to the audience just as much as it comes to Rory. But she's right. Rory is a superb character, and he's being made three-dimensional more and more every week. It's not just a testimony to the actor, but to the writing as well. One of the lines that made me laugh was about the Doctor wanting new shoes, size 10s. Of course, that's how you'll tell the difference between him and the copy next week. But it is interesting to note that he has wide feet, and that's what happens if you spend a lot of time wearing ridiculous Converse. Your feet will spread. They are not good for you. They're genuinely not good for your back or your posture. I have a pair, and my wife calls them my grumpy shoes, because when I wear them, trust me, I'm not in the best of moods. So avoid wearing Converse, especially in your 10th regeneration, and move on. The cliffhanger, I have no idea where we're going with that, but that's fine. It was a nice, simple way of getting rid of the TARDIS as well, stranding them there, having it dipped in acid. So what I'll do is I'll leave it there. I'll fade away and I'll speak to you all very soon. Later on this week I'll probably be talking to you about Frontos. Also, last week I did a podcast which I'm sure about 1100 of you downloaded with the Doctor's wife. The last 3 minutes of that podcast were missing. The fixed version is now on the feed, so if you were missing the end, nip back and upload the new one. Go on, you know you want to. So this week, Frontos, and then part 2, the Almost People. And then we've only got 1 week left. So, until next time, be seeing you.
You have been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who and its associated shows are all trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Contact us at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk.